disagree with me on certain points. One of the things I really believe in deeply is freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of sharing ideas. The sharing of ideas is how we all grow. That's how we all become better people. That's how we become better Americans, better human beings, better Black people, all of that. You learn more by talking to people who disagree with you than you learn by talking to people who are just going to repeat what you just said. Jerry, what's going on? Paris, I see you in there. Paris Canty. Ronald Lewis, how are you? Good afternoon. Shauna, Mr. Simon, Jalen. I see a whole lot of Black people up in here. Do me a favor, as you get started, I'm going to send out a text message to everybody to let them know that we're about to get started. If you want to get text alerts, you can get the text alerts when we go live by texting the word voice to 31996. Just text the word voice to 31996. And the reason the text alerts are very important is because YouTube and Facebook, they just be tripping, man. They be tripping. They don't send out the alerts. They don't let people know when we're live. Is it a conspiracy? I don't know. I don't know if it's a conspiracy or not, but y'all know that the government's capable of doing anything. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they felt that progressive Black conversation was a problem or a threat to national security. After all, I think J. Edgar Hoover actually said that the biggest threat to the United States was I think he said the rise of a Black messiah. Now, I'm not a messiah, but I am a scholar. And one of the things that might even be more dangerous than a messiah who can get you all pumped up is a scholar who can actually break it down and understand systems on a level that most people can't. So either way, my point is that if you want to get text notifications and go around the system, just text my name, Boyce, B-O-Y-C-E, to 31996. And also, as we get started, please hit the thumbs up button and share button. Everybody stop for a second. Please share this to your Facebook page, your social media. Let people know this conversation is going down. I think people need to hear this stuff so we can share ideas. So let's get started. All right. So one of the things we do here on the Space for Intelligent Black People is we have everybody shout out your city, your business, and your dream. So shout out real quick. Everybody do the shout out. Shout out your city, your business, or your dream. You can shout out one of the three, two of the three, or all of the three. And I want to see who's here. Okay, so I see Dreadville is from Oaktown. Oakland is serious city, man. I mean, amazing Black people in Oakland. I felt like I'm not kidding. When I went to Oakland, I kind of felt the way a rapper probably feels when he goes to the South Bronx, because Oakland's kind of where so much began, and you feel like you got to be on point, or Oakland people will check your ass. Another special city that I love is Brooklyn. Brooklyn people are very, very intelligent, very progressive, and just the right kinds of Black people we need to lead the future. Let's see here. Dr. Boyce Watkins, you are a hitty choice. I don't know what that means exactly. A healthy choice. Yeah, yesterday I ran a half marathon, which was about the most painful experience ever, but I did it and I made it. And you know what inspired me? I'm gonna tell you what inspired the hell out of me. I'm not a fast runner. That's why I tell you guys, like, if you're sitting on the couch, just get off the couch, just start slow, because you can't be slower than me. So I just try. And when I get tired, I walk for a minute, and then I try a little bit more, and then I walk some more. So it wasn't like a straight run. I'm not out there busting it out like an Olympic athlete, but so check this out. So I get to mile 10. Mile 10 is like, it was a motherfucker. I'm just gonna tell you. I mean, I was at mile 10, like, I need white Jesus and Black Jesus to help me get to this finish line, because I signed up for something that is almost more than I can bear. Legs are stiff, painful. It was crazy. So check out what I saw, and this is worth it. I know this is a little bit of a distraction from the topic, but I got to tell you guys a story. What got me refocused, was I saw a man sort of like trotting along, and he had one leg. This man had one leg. He had one of those, like Oscar Pistorius, one of those artificial legs. And he's just sort of trotting along, tink, 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 tink. And I remember just thinking, man, if he can do this, if he can make it that 13 miles, I can too. And I talked to this man. It was a white man. And I talked to him, and I was like, come on, man, you can do it. So I started encouraging him. He encouraged me. He said, yeah, brother, we're going to get this done. And I gave him a fist bump, and we finished at the line. And when we got to the end of the 13 miles, he was there. His wife and his daughter were there, and they hugged him. It was his first half marathon. And I went up to him, and I said, man, you got me through the last 3 miles. And I want to say thank you, for your inspiration. And I look forward to seeing you at the next race. And I hugged him. I had to hug this man, because it just reminded me, no matter how hard things are for you, there's always situations that are tougher for other people. And there's something to be said about just keep going. No matter how hard it gets, just keep going. You ain't got to go fast. Just keep going. You ain't got to go hard and intense. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That's the critical idea. So anyway, sorry, I had to just share that. I hope that that's okay with you guys. I'd want you guys to know your power, know how great you can be, and I want you to just go for it. Let's see. Ramona says she's from ATL, originally from Brooklyn. My business is RH Factor Consulting Group, inspired and bolstered by membership in the Black Business School and the Turbo program, the Black Experts Empire. Yes. That is a great program, actually, the Black Experts Empire. It teaches you how to be like a social media influencer and using social media and how to get speaking engagements and all that. It's a great program in the Black Business School. So I see L. Johnson from Columbus, Ohio, Dual Victory. How you doing, Dual? Good to see you, sister. Tiffany from Oakland, Kathleen, Dallas, Michelle, Pittsburgh. Let's see. Oh, Dual is Oakland. Okay. All right, cool. Let me see here. Janice from Detroit, Ian from Boston, Bernita from Houston. Travis says, I love this channel. Well, this channel loves you. Let's see. Okay. So I see some other cities, and I see Kansas City, and I think I saw London. I always see London in here. Black London is lit. Like y'all need to quit sleeping on Black London. They got some amazing Black people in London. Beautiful, wonderful people. We went to London and the place was packed. It was so many people there, and I love London. But anyway, so let's get started. Okay, so as we get started, please hit the thumbs up button, the share button, subscribe button as we get started. Now let me jump into the topic. I don't want to stray for too long. All right, so here's what I saw that got me kind of going on this conversation. Barack Obama, you know, he's you know, you can like him or not like him. I'm not going to tell you to like him or not like him. That's not what I'm here to do. But he's an interesting dude, right? You know, some people think that he was the greatest thing since fried chicken, and some people think that he was just another white president. You know, am I a person that's a big fan of Barack Obama? No, I'm not. You know, am I a person that looks at Barack and says, oh my God, you know, all the problems in the Black community are now gone because we had our first so-called Black president, our first biracial president? No, I'm not in that category. I'm not one of those people. I'm one of those people that just looks at results and looks at what changed. You know, you're there. What has changed in America, you know, since you got elected in 08, you know, in 08, it was harder to be gay than it was in 2016. Like that was the big achievement. That was why Barack Obama was named the first gay president by Newsweek magazine. On the cover, go look it up. They got a picture of Barack with a, you know, the rainbow colored halo, and it says first gay president. A gay man wrote the article and he said, he's one of us, right? And so so it's all good. It is what it is. But that's the big change I saw in America during that time. You know, being gay went from being, you know, like you're the underdog to being the overdog, right? Being gay meant from you as a community, they went from sort of being, you know, like chastised and marginalized unfairly, by the way, unfairly, to being like dominant, so dominant to the point where they got to, you know, some Christians I knew felt bullied by the gay agenda. They felt bullied. They're sitting over in church just praying to Jesus, you know, whatever they do, you know, whatever people do in church, ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm not hating on it. Some of y'all might just get home from church or on your way to church right now. I love you no matter what. And you know, and they're just sitting over there praying and saying, this is what I believe based on what my pastor said, based on what the Bible says. And suddenly they got, you know, liberals and LGBT people saying, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're discriminatory, you're evil, you're terrible, you're filled with hate. And they're like, we're not filled with hate, we're filled with love. Yeah, it doesn't matter though, right? Because the Obama presidency changed all of that and it shifted power in an amazing way. Even the Black Lives Matter movement was driven by LGBT agendas, right? That's why the leaders of the movement, like DeRay McKeeson, just happen to be super gay. That's why the new mayor of Chicago happens to be gay, right? Doesn't mean that makes them bad. It just means, you know, checkmate. Like basically, it's like checkmate, motherfucker. Like they had strategy. God bless them for it. They had strategy and they ran that shit and they got the job done. Take notes on that, how they got shit done. So anyway, here's the point. So basically, Obama. You know, since he was no longer president, he doesn't really do a whole lot. He's kind of sitting back in the cut, chilling and watching America kind of happen. And I think that he's feeling some kind of way, like a lot of people are, for good reason, that President Trump is not the president to lead this country. He's not the guy that should be leading America. I'm in that category as well. I don't think Trump should be leading America. I don't think he's cut out for the job. Now, where I differ, though, is that there are people who will say, Trump got elected because black men didn't vote for the Democrats. Like that's what the Simone Sanders on CNN said. You know, I think she's gay. She looks She looks like a dude. She looked like Charles Barkley. I ain't gonna lie, she looked like Charles Barkley. But you know, Simone Sanders was like on Twitter, like dissing black men. Black men are the reason that Trump got elected, something like that. Or I think she said black men need to shut up. And then it was the other lady, the crazy one, the other crazy Me Too lady that falsely accused Myron Rolle of harassing her. I forgot her name. You know what I'm talking about? The one on that show, that Issa Rae show. Why are these words not? You know what I'm talking about. Somebody say her name, please, before I go crazy. If you say her name, if somebody says her name in a second, I'll mention it. But yeah, but she, Amanda Seales. Thank you, Vicky Dillard. See, Vicky be saving me. I love Vicky Dillard. Awesome. She's on FlyNewBeanQueenTV.com, by the way. She's like absolute goddess status. People love Vicky, like to the end of the earth and back. So y'all got to go to FlyNewBeanQueenTV.com to check out Vicky. She's the greatest. But anyway, so you have people saying black men are the cause of every problem that exists in the world. Black men are filled with toxic masculinity. Black men are terrible people, and black men didn't show up and vote, and you are the reason that Trump got elected. Well, you know, that's kind of a dumb explanation. In my opinion, it's kind of silly because, you know, while they will blame black men not voting or voting for whoever for the outcome, they don't consider the fact that, you know, that they're the ones responsible for making black men not want to support them in the first place, right? It's almost like a husband who punches his wife in the face every day, and then she leaves, and the kids are sad because there's a divorce, and the husband calls the wife and says, well, baby, you know, you're the reason that the kids don't have a mother in the house, or you're the reason that the family's not together because you chose to leave. And she's like, no, asshole, I left because you were abusing me. You were disrespecting me. You were mistreating me. I'm not going to stay in an abusive marriage, right? So the same thing is true when it comes to the marriage between black people and the Democratic Party. There were just black people who said, I'd rather just be by myself than be in this abusive marriage, you know. And here's the reality. I mean, Malcolm X for many years warned you about white liberals. He warned you about this. Go listen to Malcolm talk about white liberals in the 1960s. He was so prophetic in the way he described white liberals in the 1960s that you could have taken that same speech and gave that same damn speech word for word, verbatim, every single syllable in 2019, and it would have like been perfectly applicable to the environment within which we operate today. I mean, ain't a damn thing changed. Ain't a damn thing changed. Seriously, nothing. So Barack Obama steps back on the scene. I'm gonna pull up this article. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please, 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 we need you to hit the thumbs up button, and we need you to share. If you're on Facebook, please share. Hearts and likes, just activity, like be involved, like be engaged, like use your fingers. Don't just watch, like don't just be passive. We need aggressive, active black people. That's what I want. We're training ourselves to be aggressive. Just go punch somebody, even if you're a digital gangster. Just go be a hardcore digital gangster. Like hit those buttons, please. We need you to do that. All right. So here's what this article says. It's in the Huffington Post, and it says, as progressives continue to challenge the Democratic Party's moderate members, former President Barack Obama says he fears that some may be going a step too far. During an Obama Foundation town hall in Berlin on Saturday, he warned, hold on, wait, I lost it. I lost you guys on Your Black World. During a Berlin town hall, Obama warned that without compromise, the conflicting ideologies could spur infighting among the left. Quote, one of the things I do worry about sometimes among progressive, he's so well spoken, right? I mean, you might not like Obama, but give it up. I mean, the man measured, sharp, knows how to, smooth as hell. Like when his words come out, they just kind of flow. So he's like, so I'm gonna try to sound as smooth as Obama. I can't do it though. I'm not a Barack Obama. You know, he's a far better man than me, right? But one of the things that I do worry about sometimes among progressives in the United States is a certain kind of rigidity where we say, I'm sorry, this is how it's going to be. And then we start sometimes creating what's called a circular firing squad, where you start shooting at your allies because one of them is straying from purity on the issues. And when that happens, typically the overall effort and movement weakens, he told the audience. So Obama recalled his days breaking into the political arena as a young community organizer, which, by the way, this community organizer thing. Let me just say this. I know a lot of folks in Chicago who are politically involved. And when I asked them, I say, so tell me about Barack's days as a community organizer. I kid you not, I have not met one community organizer who knows anything about Barack's days as a community organizer. I'm just gonna tell y'all, I mean, people that are deep in Chicago, been here forever, been in Chicago politics, they're like, we didn't know nothing about him being a community organizer. What did he organize? He must have organized, you know, he organized the shoes in his closet, but he wasn't organizing no community. That's what I've heard. But again, I'm not dissing, I'm just saying this is what This is what the streets be talking, and this is what the streets are saying. Okay, so so anyway, he says he recalls his days breaking into the political arena as a young community organizer, admitting that he too, quote, wanted change now, and I wanted 100% of what I wanted, only to be disappointed by officials who couldn't make it all happen at once. His reaction, he said, was one of furor and frustration. I've been on both sides of the equation, he added, emphasizing that principles matter, but so does effective organization, or effective negotiation. Negotiation. He says, I think whether you are speaking as a citizen or as a political leader or an organizer, you have to recognize that the way we structure democracy requires you to take into account people who you don't agree with, and by that definition means you're not going to get 100% of what you want. I didn't do a very good Obama impression. I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. So anyway, so what's fascinating about this? Here's what's fascinating about this statement. This statement was fascinating to me because basically what you're seeing from Barack is this sort of kind of like, whoa, hold up, slow your roll kind of attitude. Like basically what he's saying to other Democrats is, whoa, we want to hold everybody else accountable. We want to get in everybody else's shit, but don't be getting up in our shit. Right? We want everybody else to answer, when we put down the gauntlet, but we don't want anybody doing that to us, right? And that honestly, when I saw Obama's quote, the first thought that came to mind was Joe Biden. Now, if you recall, Joe Biden was Obama's vice president. Joe Biden also is the Democratic Party's best option to win the presidency in 2020. Polls have shown that if Joe Biden runs head-to-head with Donald Trump, that Biden would win by about 20 points. So the idea that Biden has been body slammed lately, that Biden's being hit hard by Me Too allegations, is real disconcerting for the Democratic Party. Obama's very upset, very nervous about that. That's my interpretation. Now, there's a deeper interpretation in terms of the divide between old school Democrats and very progressive Democrats, like Ocasio-Cortez, I think that's her name, like that. She's really, really progressive and really pushing the envelope, kind of like the Democratic Party's version of the Tea Party. That's kind of where they stand, in my opinion. But that's what it is. It is what it is that fight is going to happen. But then when you have the Me Too movement in particular, which I've been deeply concerned about, because if you really look around the Me Too movement, the only people, I want you to tell me all the people who are in prison right now as a result of the Me Too movement. Raise your hand. Tell me who are the prominent people that have been put in prison, not jail, prison, for the Me Too movement. Give me a name. It rhymes with Pill Rosby. Can you anybody give me a name? Give me a name. Give me a name. Bill Cosby. That's the most prominent name to be put in prison over the Me Too movement. What are some other names? Well, R. Kelly gonna be next. Which maybe he deserves it. I'm not saying R. Kelly is a good guy. I'm not gonna even defend this dude because I don't like what R. Kelly represented. I ain't gonna lie. But then you got other men that you don't know so much about. Anybody heard the name Albert Wilson? Albert Wilson. Anybody heard? Raise your hand if you've heard the story of Albert Wilson. I talked about Albert for an hour yesterday. The story brought me to tears. Albert Wilson, his website is freealbertwilson.com. Freealbertwilson.com. Let me tell you, Albert Wilson went to got 12 years in prison for kissing a white girl. And when I say that, I mean that. He did not even have sex with this girl and was in his apartment with her alone for 5 minutes. In this case, based on every single thing I've read, every single thing I've dug into, there is literally no evidence that was presented at all anywhere justifying Albert Wilson's conviction. Nothing. The only thing that was there is white woman's tears, like which they apparently count white woman's tears to be the same as evidence because white women are so sacred and wonderful, apparently, to the judicial system and so well protected. But there's other cases. Quintez Cephas. Anybody heard about Quintez Cephas? If you haven't heard about him, say yes. If you'd like to hear a little bit about him, say I'd like to learn more. I'd like to learn more. Okay, so So Quintez Cephas, okay, I see some people know him, some people don't. Quintez Cephas right now is a wide receiver at the University of Wisconsin who has been kicked off the football team and is almost about to be kicked out of school because two white girls, Becky and Becky Jr. got together and decided they wanted to have a threesome with a black man because black men are I guess almost like mascots or like what's the word? Where you're just infatuated with something like black men are great, props for their sexual fantasies, apparently. So they wanted to have a threesome with a big, strong black man, and they got high and drunk with him and went back to an apartment with him. And then the next day said that they were both raped because they're claiming that they were too drunk to have consented to sex. Like the Me Too movement is so stupid that it's gotten to the point where they're saying that a woman who gets drunk is not at all accountable for her choices, but a man who gets drunk is completely accountable for everything he does. And so for women, they can say, I was drunk. So even if I said, yes, I'd like to do that, it doesn't matter. You're still a rapist, which pretty much, I mean, you go throughout history and think about how many times people have had drunk sex. That means that the majority of the male population could be defined as a rapist. Like you got relatives in your family who are rapists. So watch out. Watch out. If your daddy ever has sex with your mama and she had been drinking, your daddy raped your mama. Seriously, that's how ridiculous this stuff has gotten. So here's the thing. Here's where I'm getting at with this. Please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button if you're watching. Please hit the thumbs up button. With Obama, Obama's reaction to extremity, within his party, to sort of extreme ideology or his opposition to what he calls purity, is driven. It's not a coincidence that this comes out right after Joe Biden himself gets busted on some Me Too stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, when I first heard about Joe Biden's situation, where they were talking about him just, rubbing noses with women or, touching their hair or putting their arm around them or hugging them a little bit too long. I was kind of like, I don't know. Let me think about that. Maybe he's a little bit fresh. And, and a real woman can just be kind of like, hey, man, get up off me, or whatever, right? Like, grown ass women kind of know how to handle that. Like, I think, that's like Alicia laughs when she hears some of these stories. She's like, yeah, I've dealt with flirtatious men because she's a beautiful woman. Alicia's so pretty. I think she's the prettiest girl in the world. Don't tell her I said that. But anyway, well, I'll probably tell her today. But anyway, so Alicia, has gotten hit on a lot, like every other pretty girl, and she knows how to handle it. She knows how to handle herself, right? And she knows that most men are relatively harmless. She knows the difference between a harmful man and a harmless man. So I was thinking, and I was wondering if Joe Biden might be a harmless man. But then I saw the smoking gun. Woo, buddy. Did anybody else see that video called Creepy Uncle Joe? Tell me if you saw that video, Creepy Uncle Joe. Yes or no? Did you see it? Yes or no? If you see that video, okay, Teresa says no. If you see that video, it's impossible to watch that video and not walk away thinking this dude might be a child molester. Not that he is, not that, no, I wouldn't accuse him. I'm not accusing nobody of nothing. But you watch that video, woo, buddy. That video is like, oh shit, they got a problem. That video, what the video basically does is it's a compilation. See, it's one thing if you see somebody do something in an isolated instance that only affects you, you kind of look at the situation in a vacuum, so you don't not quite know how to interpret it because you don't have all the data. But when they compile all that shit and they put it all together, it becomes a whole different picture that's drawn with thousands of strokes of the brush as opposed to one stroke. And you can kind of see, a montage of who Joe Biden might actually be as a human being. It's kind of like if I were, imagine if you could watch your own sex life, right? And see, and literally like you had to look and see every person you were with and every situation you were in. It would look kind of crazy. It would be, so they did that with Joe Biden. They took all of the times that he was around little girls. I'm talking about 8 years old, 9, 12, 6. And he was doing stuff like like stroking their faces. And I mean, just little kids you don't even know, stroking their faces, playing with their hair. And he would always want to take a picture and put his arm around the girl. One little girl, he's got his hand like right near her breast. I mean, it was deep. And it was like, it was like 20 different videos pulled together where it looked pretty bad. If somebody, put it this way, if you brought your 8-year-old daughter to meet Joe Biden and he did that, you would probably want to punch him in the face. In fact, I can't even imagine touching somebody else's child like that. I wouldn't touch my own child like that. But let alone somebody, a child, you don't even know this child. You just met their parents and you're stroking the little girl's face and playing with her hair right before the picture and sniffing people's hair and he kept repeating this line like, but don't date any boys till you're 31. Don't date any boys till you're 31. Like he kept saying that over and over. Now, that little line is like, it is what it is. But it was just kind of like a weird kind of thing where you wondered what's beneath all of that. And so where the Democrats end up having a problem is that, the guy that you claim to be, the best bet to defeat Donald Trump, the guy that you believe is going to take this creepy old white man out of office happens to be another creepy old white man that might be a child molester. Like, really, like it's not, it's a deep video. So Obama and the Democrats, I think that they're really worried. I think that they're worried about that, on top of just the fact that people are tired of the Democratic Party establishment. But that's kind of an old story. This part is like a new twist. And so now Obama is kind of positioning to slightly defend his friend Joe Biden by saying, oh, well, maybe we need to get away from this purity thing. And I'm worried about, he calls them circular firing squads, where he says, we don't want to get to the point where we expect everyone to have this pure behavior and it's keeping them from being able to, possibly get anything done. And he's basically saying to people, like, you got to be a little more pragmatic. You got to be a little more forgiving. You can't go beat people over the head because of something that they did that was sexually ambiguous to you or sexually problematic. Why is that an issue? Well, what he's basically talking about is the Me Too movement. He's basically saying, whoa, this Me Too movement, this beast that we supported, this beast that we put in place, this beast that we got behind is now about to turn around and eat our asses. There's an article on Joe Biden on the Atlantic, or Politico magazine, by Emily Joffe. I don't even know who she is. Joffe. She might, let me see if she's a sister, because the article's written so well. It's only a black woman's brilliance can create something this amazing, in my opinion. But then again, maybe she's white. Maybe she's lucky. Oh, she's white. Okay. All right. Well, props to Emily Joffe. Let me hit the thumbs up button, please, while I do that. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you want to support intelligent Black media, where we have intelligent conversations, as you guys know, we're fearless. We talk about what needs to be talked about. If you want to support, we would love your support. You can either make a donation right there in the feed with YouTube right there, or you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com and become a patron. And in exchange for your patronage, we give you stuff. So it's not a donation, it's an investment. So please consider that. Also, don't forget, on the 12th of April, we're going to do a 24-hour flash discount on Black Money 101, which is one of our most popular programs in the Black Business School. So for 24 hours, you'll be able to get 70% off the tuition. So you can try it out, or you can go to blackmoney101.com and do the first month free and do the regular cost. It's up to you. It explains the power of money, how to build your own family bank, and a whole curriculum. And you can get a degree from the school once you're done. The Black Business School, that's our institution. We created that for our community, and we're very, very proud of that. So anyway, let me dig into this. Okay, so hit the thumbs up button. I'm pulling this article up. So this article is basically the title of the article is Joe Biden created the culture he is a target of. So basically they're saying that this culture that Biden is dealing with was a culture that he created. And it says Joe Biden is now living in the world of accusation he helped to create. It is one of peril for the accused, in which they are subjected to expansive definitions of sexual misconduct and little benefit of the doubt. That's an important statement right there. Expansive definitions of sexual misconduct. What does that mean? That means basically they're calling everybody a fucking predator. They're calling everybody a predator, and they're not making any sort of distinction between between the guy who just says, I think you look good in that dress, versus the guy who says, I'm gonna rape you when you get home tonight. Like there's a difference, and they're not acknowledging that difference because it's a political tactic to try to pull everyone together into one big lump so that you have the numbers. A lot of the behavior of white liberals is driven by numbers. That's why white feminists recruit black women, is so you can bolster their numbers. They don't want to give you actually any power. They just need you to bolster their numbers so they can win elections, right? So that's why they expand the definition of sexual misconduct so they can just catch everybody's situation. So you got the Me Too movement where, somebody who got her booty touched is sitting next to somebody who was gang raped, and they're literally acting like they have the same experience. And the reality is that that's not the case. The second part, little benefit of the doubt. You see, the justice system in America, in this strange experiment called America, is supposed to be one where, you're innocent until proven guilty. Nobody comes up and just says, oh, I think you did it. You're evil. You're bad. You're going to hell. You got to prove that. You send somebody to prison, you got to have proof. Right? That's it. I mean, that's basic, fundamental. Law school 101, you need to prove your shit before you ruin somebody's life. They got rid of that. They are now to the point where they're like, well, no, you got to believe the accuser. Believe the accuser. You're blaming the victim if you blah, blah, blah. No, you're not blaming the victim. You're asking the victim questions, and you're asking the victim questions to find out, are you really the victim? Because the easiest way to be an excellent perpetrator is to pretend to be a victim. A wolf can be a better wolf if he dresses like a motherfucking sheep. If you put on sheep's clothing, then you can be the meanest, nastiest wolf and the most successful wolf in history. That's why I like with racism. That's why racism works better when you put a black face on it. If the government did send somebody to go kill Nipsey Hussle, they're not going to kill a white man in a three-piece or send a white man in a three-piece suit. They're going to send a black man dressed like a Crip. That's what they're going to do. They sent the black man dressed like the Crip because they knew he could walk up in that motherfucker and do his business and wouldn't nobody really going to stop him. But if he had come in there looking like a white man from the government, they would have been on full alert. They would have said, whoa, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. So the easiest way to achieve a malicious goal is to pretend like you're an ally or to pretend like you're a victim. And then that gives you the perfect opportunity to be the most amazing perpetrator ever known to man. So for the Me Too movement, what it's allowed people, it's done two things. One, it has, on a legitimate sense, given some victims a voice they did not have. Everybody can agree to that. Everybody can agree that victims of crime deserve to be heard. Do we agree on that? If you agree, say, I agree. Say, I agree. Type it in. Say, I agree. Right? If you agree that victims of crime deserve to have a voice, just say, I agree. Right? But what it's also done, when you do it sloppily, when you're not checking cards at the door, when you got the victim club and you're letting people in without ID, with fake ID, and you're not checking IDs to make sure, hey, wait, are you really a victim? Let me look at your ID in the light, right? You're not checking ID, then you're gonna have a whole bunch of perpetrators going like, I'm a victim, here's my victim card, right? And everybody playing the victim card because you can be a victim. I mean, it's easy. There's no requirement to be a victim. It's like when back Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that, back when they made it easy for people to claim to be a Native American and they pay $5. That's why they got all the hundreds of thousands of people that were $5 Indians. They were like, well, shit, if I can pay $5 and be a Native American, I'm gonna do that because I get all these benefits. Shit, hell yeah, right? So ultimately, that's what the Me Too movement has done, and that goes back to Biden, right? So now so in the article, I'll keep reading. It says Biden helped to bring about as the leader of the Obama administration's cornerstone effort. So this was a cornerstone of the Obama administration's agenda. This wasn't just something that they just had on the list. Like black folks may be on the list. We down at the bottom and shit. We got them in the office, but we don't even get remembered. But the cornerstones, gay feminism, right? Those are the two areas that I would love to have been a gay feminist during the Obama era. Who has the most power in America right now? Gay feminists, most like lesbians. A lesbian will never get taken down by the Me Too movement. Even though they got lesbians out here that I'm sure harass women. I know women that go to conferences for women's empowerment and they get hit on the lesbians as much as they get hit on by dudes when they go to the club. Sex is sex, no matter what. People are horny everywhere across the entire spectrum. And I talked to a sister one time who said, I went to this women's empowerment event and all the gay women were hitting on me. Like she said, I told them I didn't come here for you to do things to me that are worse than what the men do, right? There's no group right now more powerful, more protected in America than a lesbian feminist. And then down the ladder, you've got, heterosexual women, things like that, and the white male, and the black male's kind of at the bottom. The reason the black male's at the bottom is because, one, you're black. You've always been a nigga in their mind. That's what you are to them. That's how they're just gonna kind of see you. And it's better to understand that now, than to figure it out after they've been treating you like a nigga for 20 years and you really didn't understand why. But then the second thing is, you don't have as much power because nobody believes you. Everybody thinks you're a predator from birth. And that leads to the third point, which is that they perceive black men as being filled with toxic masculinity. So you've got this agenda where your goal is to hunt rodents. You want to hunt and extract specific rodents from your society. Well, the ones you're going to go after first are the ones that are the nastiest and the weakest. Right. So you go after so black men are, in their minds, we are the nastiest rodents and we are the weakest rodents. So when you go hunt, when lions go hunt a pack of gazelles, they don't go after the big, powerful gazelles first. They go after the little chubby ones in the back, or the old ones, or the tired ones, or the ones with a broken leg. That's who they go after. So the black man is like the gazelle in the back of the pack with a broken leg and trying to get away from the lion. And the lion just runs up and just eats your ass up. And the lion is pretty much either the white woman or the lesbian feminist. So lesbian feminists can be black. That's why in Chicago, you have a mayor right now who is what? A lesbian feminist, right? It's not a coincidence. That's kind of how the game's played right now. Pay attention. Pay attention. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me see here. And also don't forget, we're on iTunes now. This podcast is on iTunes. So if you want to hear a crazy black man running his mouth on iTunes, feel free to download. Just look up my name. It's right there. I'm crazy, but I'm actually smart too. I'm crazy and smart. So that's what makes up for my crazy. All right, so Biden helped to bring it about as the leader of the Obama administration's cornerstone effort to end sexual assault at colleges and universities, a worthy undertaking that quickly spiraled into overreach. The goal, as Biden often says, was to remake sexual culture on campuses and in society at large, a goal that's reached remarkable fruition in the Me Too era. Now, as he mulls whether to enter the presidential race, Biden is finding himself ensnared by some of the doctrines he has advocated over the past several years. In the past few days, Biden's not yet candidacy has been rocked by accusations of unwanted touching. And then they go down the list. They mentioned Lucy Flores, a Democratic candidate, who said that in 2014, Biden placed his hands on her shoulders, sniffed her hair, and gave the back of her head a big, slow kiss. That is weird as hell. That's really weird. I'm just trying to imagine that, like back of the shoulders, sniff your hair, big slow kiss. He sounds like a freak. He sounds like a real freak. All right, so let's keep going. A few days later, Democratic former congressional aide Amy Leopold said at a 2009 event, thank you, babe, I appreciate it. She bought me some food, y'all, so please leave that there.
You want something to drink too?
Yes, that's good. Thank you, sweetie.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
And Eric Holder's in the middle of that too.
Attorney General Eric Holder.
Yeah, when he was Attorney General, he should have done some things too.
Oh, absolutely.
He gets wrapped up in all of them.
Absolutely.
Come on,
Absolutely.
knock them dead, boys.
Oh, well, she encourages me. That's what you do. You got to encourage your man. All right. So it makes us better men. Just so you know, like don't beat down on your man. Like encourage him and it'll make him a better man. All right. So anyway, let's keep going. All right. So a few days later, Amy Leopold said in 2009, Biden put his hands on her face, pulled her to him, and rubbed his nose with hers. This week, 2 more women have come forward. And more women are going to keep coming forward. I mean, this isn't going to stop. So these women's accounts have been bolstered by the many circulating videos under the label Creepy Uncle Joe, largely compiled from swearing-in ceremonies at which Biden presided as vice president and where he welcomed incoming officials' families. On view is the oddly ritualized way that Biden interacts with women and girls, the hair stroking and sniffing, persistent whispering, touching, and insisting that young female family members stand near him. He always wants to stand near the little girls. It's very interesting. He's whispering in their ear, this little stuff like that. Biden, whose spokesman did not respond to requests for comment for this article, has many defenders, including women who say they welcomed his touch. And while the accusers say they feel he violated their personal space, they generally agree that what he did was minor, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. So the New York Times, Michael Goldberg wrote recently that she doesn't think Biden is a sexual harasser, but that the accusations in his response helped to demonstrate that his time is up. When Biden became vice president, one of his early acts was the announcement in June 2009 of a position under his aegis, White House advisor on violence against women. Addressing violence against women has been career defining for Biden. So Biden has made his whole career on this issue of violence against women. That's perfectly fine. I mean, we don't need more violence against women or anybody, right? I mean, violence against women is bad. I hope that we understand that. If you understand, please let me know you understand this. But what's interesting is that I know personally I was affected by Biden's overzealous overreach in this area. I've told you guys before about this, where I wrote an article. You can probably Google it. Where I wrote an article where I was explaining to Black men. I said it was titled something like "How Sleeping with the Wrong Woman Can Turn You into a Rapist," and I put the word "rapist" in quotes, meaning that I was basically explaining to brothers, be careful about who you roll with when it comes to women. The same way you got predatory men and women warn each other about possible predatory men. I said the predators are not all male. I said there are lots of predatory females out here like Cardi B's. Cardi B, I thank God that she made that crazy confession about drugging and robbing men, because I knew all this back in the day. I was talking about this back then. But at that time, when Joe Biden's running around acting like the only predators in the world are male, it became a big controversy for me. Like that night, I got a message from my assistant, and she's like, "What did you say?" And I said, "No, I didn't say anything. I wrote an article where I was basically warning brothers not to, to protect themselves, to not be out here just getting with any woman, like, because some of these women will lie on you." And literally, I got attacked. I had a bunch of Black male scholars, and I kid you not, the guy at Duke, I can't remember his name, but it's some guy at Duke. Who basically led this posse of Black male feminists, which sounds like the most bitch assedness thing I've ever heard of. I mean, you can support feminism, you can support womanism, support all of that, but Black male feminists, I don't even know what that means. I just don't get it. But anyway, but he comes to me and he writes this article. They didn't come to me. They didn't call me. They wrote this open letter. So the goal of an open letter is to front on you in public, right? The goal of an open letter is, I'm not going to call you man to man. I'm not going to talk it out with you, brother. I'm going to just front on you so that Massa will see which side that I'm on, and I'm going to assist Massa in eliminating the rodents in our society, right? I'm going to assist Massa in eliminating all the independent-minded Black people out here who are not going along with the agenda. So basically, they wrote this crazy letter. They didn't. Now here's where the propaganda came into play. I didn't have a problem with people disagreeing with me. I tell you guys, if you disagree with me, then let me know. That's perfectly fine. But the problem was that the letter that they wrote was filled with toxic femininity, as Vicky Dillon likes to say. It was basically propaganda. It was a bunch of feminized ass Black men who literally wrote this letter where they were calling me all kinds of names. That was the first thing. They called me all kinds. It was crass, and you were I forgot, disrespectful and blah, 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 blah. I can't remember all the crazy things that they said. And then, but the thing was, they were calling me all these names, and not once in their letter did they at any point quote anything that I put in my actual article. Not at any point did they ever say, something like, "Hey, this is what you said. Here's your quote. You said this, and this. Let us break down why what you said is a problem." Now, here we go. Here's the letter. I actually found it online. It says, the image at the top says, "No more rape culture." It says, "Dear Boyce, we come at you as brothers who appreciate your ability." Wait, no, this isn't. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let me see here. Here we go. It says, "We come to you as brothers who appreciate your ability to build a recognizable brand and become a voice of importance for many in our communities. But with such a visibility and influence comes great responsibility." There's nothing wrong with that sense. That's fine. "It is in the spirit of this latter of the latter point that we absolutely must challenge the logic and validity of your recent essay. Quote, how sleeping with the wrong woman might turn you into a rapist. At best," this is the part that was interesting. They said, "At best, your essay is irresponsible, callous, and willfully thoughtless." So here I am, I'm a Black man like you, right? I'm a responsible man. I have lived a good life. I ain't never, been arrested. I ain't never done no ridiculous shit. I run around telling millions of Black men to take care of your families, to build your wealth, to educate yourselves, to build your communities. That's what I do, right? So I'm an asset to the Black community. But first thing you call me is irresponsible, right? Why is that fit? Why does Massa like that terminology? Well, because Massa agrees with you. Yeah, the black man is irresponsible because Boyce ain't nothing but a dumb nigga. He's just not, take away all the things that I've accomplished, all the things I've done to distinguish myself as a productive member of society and the black community. All you can reduce me to is irresponsible, right? And that's sensitive. I'm sensitive to that because I've dealt with that. When I was raising my daughter, I remember a time where I went to go see her teacher at school. And I remember that I had got the time wrong because nobody told me the time. And I got there and the teacher, first thing she does, this was a black woman actually, first thing she did was start talking to me like I was some dumb little kid. Like I was her irresponsible uncle who drinks too much. And like, she was like, we waited for you for an hour. And my first thought was like, who are you talking to? You ain't talking to little Pookie Nim. You're talking to Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm a professor. Like I'm a professor. I'm a man. I'm a scholar. You don't talk to me like that. And I don't think she would have talked to a white parent that way. And my point is that in our society, we have black and white people who see the black man as an intelligent, reckless, worthless piece of shit. We even have black men who see black men that way. So they go off and they get jobs at these white universities like one of the guys that wrote this letter, I think his name was Mark Anthony Neal. And there were a bunch of them on here. And they tend to see themselves as being different from other black men, right? Like, so you're sitting over there in your nice little job, white folks love you, they're giving you raises and promotions, they're taking good care of you. And then you got black men that are out here in the struggle, out here in the streets. White people ain't doing shit for me. They hate me. They're not trying to do shit, anything to help what I'm trying to do. And you want to talk shit about that. You want to speak negatively about that when there are millions of black people who have said, this guy is helping us. So at the very least, come with some motherfucking respect. Come with some respect for the fact that at the end of the day, we should be on the same side. And some would even argue that I'm doing a whole lot more than you because all you're doing is sitting up there in there underneath the white man and you're like the one Negro who got a good job. So you're not really trying to do much to ruin your good situation. And I appreciate that. But just know that that's not something that's really going to benefit that many black people other than the 2 or 3 students you have in your class once a year. So anyway, let me keep going. So as they said, at best, your essay is irresponsible, callous, and willfully thoughtless. At worst, and this is at best, right? So the best things I can say about my essay that I actually, again, I had more education by the age of 25 or 26 than most people have their whole life, right? I've been teaching college since I was 22. I was the #1 black student on the entire University of Kentucky campus as an undergrad. I have to lay out these credentials so people know that I've always been a hardworking black man and I'm not a dummy, right? But the first thing they say is at best, you're irresponsible, callous, and willfully thoughtless. At worst, your essay is hateful, misogynistic, and deeply troubling from one who claims to love and represent the interests of our people. There is not an index of sexual violence and rape in this country that suggests that the rates of such offenses could ever be equated with the number of false accusations. Indeed, because I was actually talking about black men being falsely accused, that there are thousands, tens of thousands of black men who've been falsely accused, who have gone to prison. Some went to prison for life. Some were executed. Emmett Till was executed because a white woman told a goddamn lie. You're gonna sit here and tell me that there's something wrong with me saying that sometimes a woman will lie. Like if I had gone out and said sometimes men will lie, sometimes men will be deceptive, sometimes men will do terrible things. Oh, y'all believe that shit. Y'all believe that to the end of the day. I can tell you that a black man chopped up his 4-year-old child and ate her dead body, and y'all believe that shit, because y'all believe any horrible thing that a black man might do. But if I say that about a white woman, it's like, whoa, Kimosabe, hold up there, Boyce. You're sounding willfully callous and hateful and thoughtless and misogynistic right now, because you actually said that a white woman might lie, and Massa don't lie. She don't never lie. Massa ain't never told no lies. She don't be lying. What's wrong with you, nigga? No, Massa don't lie like that, right? That's what it's like. Literally, let me keep going. They said there's not an index of sexual violence and rape in this country that suggests that the rates of such offenses would ever be equated with the number of false accusations. Indeed, the numbers tend to pivot the other way, as cases of rape and sexual violence, especially in our own communities, are underreported, often out of the need and desire for many of the victims to protect the black male assailants. In other words, very often the black women victims of rape and sexual violence are more willing to offer protection to their attackers than you are willing to offer protection to those same black women in your article. Many of these issues are addressed directly by Aisha Shahida Simmons in her important film, The No Rape Documentary. Now, mind you, pay attention here. Here's what's interesting. They provide a link to the No Rape Documentary to make their point, But they do not provide any links to my original article that they're busy critiquing, in which they're calling me callous, irresponsible, thoughtless, hateful, misogynistic, and deeply troubling. Here I am, a black man who has a decent reputation, I ain't never been perfect in my life, but I do my best, right? I've spent 20 something, 30 something years building my reputation. Y'all know what I stand for. You may like it, you may not like it, but you know I've been consistent. Even my haters will say, damn, that Negro's consistent, right? So I've been consistent in developing a reputation as a black man who cares about black people and does my best to stimulate and to encourage intelligent thought throughout the black community. And you're coming in trying to literally dismantle me and disrespect me in every single way, and you don't even provide evidence. You provide zero evidence. I'm looking in this article. There's not one link to the article, not one quote in the article that I recall, nothing showing proof of these accusations that you're making. So what you're basically doing is you're acting like a white woman. You're basically acting like a white woman. The people on this letter, I don't even know half of these people who were on this letter. I know that a lot of them were black men, because somebody probably put them up to it, and they were like, oh, we need a black man to write this letter because we need black people to do our dirty work. Just like somebody maybe paid Eric Holder to go kill Nipsey Hussle. They're like, well, we can't do it, but we need a Negro to go do it, and you're an informant, so we need you to go do it, right? So we got Negro informants all over the place who work for a higher authority, who will go and do assassinations on other black people because white people don't want to do that shit. Seriously, when Cornel West was getting assassinated, they didn't come right at him directly. The white folks didn't do it because they knew how it would be interpreted. They went and they got Michael Eric Dyson. They gave him space in the Atlantic to write a 10,000 words is damn near long enough to be a book, right? An article is supposed to be 500 words, 1,000 words. They gave him 10,000 words. That's COINTELPRO. That's COINTELPRO for your ass. They gave him 10,000 words to spend half a week dismantling and disrespecting and attacking Cornel West. Melissa Harris Perry was given a lot of space in major white liberal publications to attack and go after and shut down Cornel West. And it wasn't like they all got together and said, hey, let's have a black family meeting. Let's talk it out. Let's figure out how we can find common ground. No, they said, we need you to kill this nigga, and we're going to give you the weapons to do it. We need you to take his black ass out, and we're going to give you what you need to make it happen. That is a type of COINTELPRO, in the sense that basically, if you look at the history of the United States government, one of the things that they have consistently done is when they see power rising up that is not consistent with their agenda. This is anywhere in the world, not just in the US. What they do with you here is kind of just what they do everywhere. They do this all over the world. If you know world history, you know these things. I'm not an expert, but I know enough to know enough, right? So what they'll do is, if they see a government and they're like, we really want their oil, and they've got leaders who won't give us their oil, so we know that they have enemies. So what we're going to do is, we're not going to get involved. Our hands are going to stay clean, but we're going to go find their enemies and give them lots of guns and help their enemies to go and take them out. So that's what they do. So they look at Cornel West and like, oh, wait, this Negro is speaking for black people. We can't have that. We can't have anybody actually disagreeing with the Obama administration who's black. So we're not going to go take him out, but we're going to go find Negroes that don't like him, and we're going to give them the weapons to go take them out themselves, right? So anyway, so not to say that this particular letter was driven by that same sort of energy, but I'm looking at this and I read it, and you can actually find it if you Google search an open letter to Dr. Boyce Watkins. You can actually read it and read it for yourself. I'm a person that encourages you to consume all the information to make your own decision. I'm never one to tell you what to think. But the thing is, and also you can look up the article. The article was titled How Sleeping with the Wrong Woman Can Turn You into a Rapist. And I put rapist in quotes. And I want you to read the article, and I want you to read the response. And then I actually wrote an open letter in response to their open letter. And the thing I critiqued was not so much the difference in ideology, because I'm okay with that. I can handle you disagreeing with me. What I critiqued was the extreme irresponsibility of scholars attacking someone and providing no evidence, no proof, no support for what you're saying. And in fact, a lot of people were quoting, this is going back to Joe Biden. This is, y'all know me, I might take you around the world, but I always bring you back home. This goes back to Joe Biden. Well, why? Well, because right when I was going through this nonsense, and I'm living at this time, because I'm like, these are brothers that could have picked up the phone and called me, but you got white folks pumping you up to come and attack me. Now we can't be friends. And because you've been a sucker, you've been sucked in by divide and conquer, which is exactly how they've been destroying our community since slavery. That's exactly what they did to South Central. That's why Nipsey Hussle didn't get killed by a white man or a cop. He got killed by a black man in his own hood wearing his same damn colors. Divide and conquer up in this bitch. And y'all fell for that shit. So you're not a scholar, you're a fucking idiot. So these idiots, basically, one of the things that was going on when I got this letter from these ridiculous people was, at the same time, I kept seeing the same quote. I kept seeing them constantly quoting and requoting the same statistic. And I don't know if they put it in this open letter, this stupid open letter they wrote. I gotta go look at it in detail. But there is a quote that everybody was repeating when I was getting this barrage of attacks. I was getting all this barrage of, of these messages like, you're a misogynist, you're a sexist. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to protect black men. I'm telling them not to be womanizers. Like, what's sexist about that? I'm telling them, be careful. Black man, you're in danger. If anybody's in danger in America, it's the black man. So what's wrong? What's wrong with what I said? And smart people, fair people were reading this and they were like, boys, we don't understand where the controversy came from. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Mark Lamont Hill and his old feminist ass, I think he was one of the ones that kind of set it off. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Mark. Yeah, and Mark, it was kind of disappointing because I was one of the people that helped Mark get started with his career, believe it or not. Way back in the day, I mentored him. And I was kind of like, dude, like, why are you falling for this nonsense? But that's because, so many of us are affected by this liberal brainwashing. So one stat that kept getting reported over and over and over again during this controversy was this stat that was popularized by Joe Biden, in which they were repeating literally on motherfucking repeat. They were constantly saying over and over and over again that that the chances of being falsely accused of rape were lower than the chances of being struck by lightning. That's the quote. That's what and it was really weird. It almost felt like I was like, this has got to be some government COINTELPRO stuff, because I was hearing people repeating the same thing, and it made me think, is this Russian bots? Like what the hell is happening? I'm talking about thousands of messages where hundreds of people were repeating the same quote and saying, you're full of shit because nobody gets falsely accused of rape. It doesn't happen enough. And I'm like, well, just because it doesn't happen enough, that doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about it. Because I know people like Brian Banks whose lives have been completely ruined by false accusations. We know what happened with Emmett Till. We know what happened when the burning down of Black Wall Street. So why wouldn't that be mentioned? That doesn't make any sense. But then the thing was, they kept saying this quote about, struck by lightning, right? The odds of being falsely accused of rape are lower than the odds of being struck by lightning. Why is that a problem? Well, because I did the research. I was, I'm like Vicky Dillard. I'm like, okay, I need to see some receipts. And what I did was I started researching deep on the deep web. Where did this stat come from? What's the origin of this statistic, right? The struck by lightning stat that was popularized by Joe Biden, who now is being hit by the same culture that he created. Check this shit out. Scholars of sexual assault have repeatedly stated that statistic is bogus. They have repeatedly stated that statistic was unscientific, that it did not come from any peer-reviewed research. It did not come from any source that had any form of legitimacy anywhere. You know where that stat came from? There was a gay writer at the Huffington Post who wrote an article, who literally did the stat by taking, some weird number with all the people who've ever had sex and all the times they've ever had sex and the number of times that XYZ occurred. I mean, it was like literally the kind of thing, like I got an 11-year-old in the house. She could have done a better job composing that statistic than he did. And this stat, when it just sounded really cool and it fit the agenda, it fit the propaganda, it fit the lie. So when you hand people a really interesting lie, that becomes much more interesting than the truth, right? It's like how tasty poison is always going to be the preferred meal over health food that don't taste that good, right? At least for ignorant people. So given that this ignorance and this propaganda was being spread throughout, white liberal America and through the Democratic Party at the time Obama's elected, Joe Biden and his monkey ass grabs this stat and starts repeating this shit. Nobody verifies it, but apparently, because again, you go look it up, go Google this. Don't believe me, go look it up, man. Look it up. And he literally repeats this stat. And then it becomes really popular. The liberals are like, yeah, we got the stat that supports our agenda, blah, 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 blah. And they're repeating this. And so that came back to hit me because I'm looking at this stat and I'm sitting there thinking, am I crazy? Because I know brothers, I know people that have gone through this. I know people who've been falsely accused, but I don't know nobody who's been struck by lightning. How many of you, tell me yes or no, how many of you know somebody who's been struck by lightning? Tell me if you know somebody who's been struck by lightning. Answer that question. I gotta type something to my sister real quick. Hit the thumbs up button while you do this. Please hit the thumbs up button. Hold on. So tell me, okay, someone said no, no, no. Okay, I don't see a single yes. Does anybody know a person? Oh, Robin says she knows a person who got struck by lightning. Okay, so that's the first part of the experiment. Okay, so now I want you to say, how many of you know someone who has been falsely accused of a crime? How many of you know a black man who was accused of something that he did not do, who went to jail for some shit that he didn't do, and ended up getting locked up, maybe because he had a bad lawyer or because the cop was in a bad mood that day, or because they were looking for a suspect who was between 5 foot and 7 feet tall, somewhere between 100 and 350 pounds, right? Right, right, a lot, right. So this idea, this ridiculous idea that that a black man's less likely to endure a false accusation than he is to be struck by lightning is about the most insane thing I'd ever heard. So again, the scientist in me said, well, I need to go dig this up because maybe I'm just biased or something. And it was BS, it was nonsense. But that stat gets repeated all the time. Liberals repeat that stat all the time, and it's just not true. Joe Biden, the reason Joe Biden's getting shit right now is because he was running around repeating the stat. And what that did was that drove him to implement a culture on college campuses where now when you get accused, when your son goes to college and your son gets falsely accused, your son goes and he gets drunk with a girl and has sex with the girl, and she's drunk and he's drunk, and she decides that she feels that she was raped because she was drunk. Your son ain't got a chance in hell to get out of that shit. Your son will be booted out of school and chastised and just bashed, whether it's on the internet or anywhere else. All that's going to happen before he even gets a chance to tell his story. That's what's going to happen right now to your son. And so as a result of Biden and Obama was co-signing on this. He was going along with this stuff. Black men are not safe on college campuses. Black men are not safe having sex in the workplace. If you have sex with someone in the workplace and you are a black man, especially if you're a powerful black man, I feel bad for you. You just know. I'm not telling you not to do it. Or if Becky hits on you or whatever, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just gonna say, just know that you put your life into that person's hands. That's what you've done. You put your life in that person's hands. So it's like choosing to have unprotected sex with somebody and you don't know where their stuff has been. You're putting your life in their hands. Well, you're having unprotected sex. But basically, when you go to work and you are a black man and you sleep with really any woman, but mostly Becky, you're literally having unprotected sex because you're very vulnerable. If it turns out she has a mental illness, and just likes to accuse people, you're done. If it turns out that she just gets mad because you won't have a relationship with her, you're done. If it turns out that that the relationship just ends and she just has a different recollection of the facts from you and reports it differently from you, you're done. The list kind of goes on and on. If it turns out that she was drunk and you were drunk, it won't matter that you were drunk. All that will matter is that she was drunk, and your drunk ass should have been smart enough to know not to sleep with her, even though her drunk ass was not smart enough to know not to sleep with you, right? So ultimately, Joe Biden created all of this. He was the number one catalyst behind all of this nonsense, and now Joe Biden is literally being eaten up by the beast that he created. And what's really crazy though is that Joe Biden, of all people, it should have known better, because Joe Biden, it looks like he is doing some freaky stuff. It looks like, I mean, not just with women, but children. My God, like what the hell? So anyway, I'm gonna keep going. Hit the thumbs up button, and also please, if you want to support intelligent Black media, We're trying to, hit our message throughout the world. And as you can tell, this is not standard, typical stuff. We do things that are a little bit different here, but we believe in Black intelligence and telling the truth and pushing our agenda, which at the end of the day, our agenda is the Black agenda. We don't have any other agenda. If you want to support, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Or if you want to buy books like Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, or apparel, stuff like this for the Black Business School, whatever it is, or digital downloads like how to build your own family bank, you can go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's our little store. We have some stuff set up at blackfinancialintelligence.com. So let me keep reading. So addressing violence against women has been career defining for Biden. As a senator, he oversaw the passage of the Violence Against Women Act in 1994. Which I think is good. I think it's very important. I mean, I've known people. I have a very good friend whose mother was killed in that way, and I think that we should all take a stand on violence against women. Now, they said the undertaking was laudable. There's no doubt that for too long, on too many campuses, too many women have been sexually violated and had their claims dismissed or diminished. But from the beginning, the demands the administration made on schools and the way schools carry them out alarmed civil libertarians. So even in the very beginning, those who believed in fairness, who agreed with the agenda, but had a problem with the execution, were sending warning signals to say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They were basically saying, look, we know what you're trying to do, and we think it's noble, but you got to be really careful because you're going to end up violating the civil rights of a lot of people. That's what civil libertarians were doing. Now, nobody was speaking up because we live in a stupid society. And in our stupid society, people think things are black and white. So they say, so either you're going along with the agenda or you're completely against the agenda. You're going along with everything that we want you to do, or you believe that women should get beat up and raped and everything else, right? So they were shaming people into silence. That's what fascists do. That's what Nazis did. There were lots of people who saw what they were doing to the Jews, and they saw that it was bad. And what they're doing to black people is actually worse than what they were doing to the Jews, because they killed a whole lot more of us than they killed them. And there are people who see these things happening who are scared to speak up. So if you want to know what goes through my mind when I'm talking to you because I want to be one of those people who's not scared to speak up. I saw this shit 8 years ago. I saw it when Obama was in office and really, carrying the gay flag and the feminist flag and letting people just get away with whatever and bullying people in the Black Christian church. I said, that's wrong, man. You can't do that. You can fight for freedom without stepping on the rights of other people. You cannot do that. It's not right. And it's going to catch up with your ass. And now it's catching up. Now Joe Biden's chickens are coming home to roost. So it says, but from the beginning, the demands the administration made on schools and the way schools carried them out alarmed civil libertarians. In April 2011, Biden and Education Secretary Arne Duncan announced the release of a bombshell letter with the bland greeting, "Dear colleague," to the country's 4,600 institutions of higher education. It laid out new directives for how campuses were to root out and punish sexual assault. It was the beginning of a concerted effort that radically remade how students could interact sexually, with severe penalties for those who violated increasingly expansive codes of conduct. So the rules and the areas where you can get in trouble for your 18-year-old son who don't even know shit. I mean, really, you really think about it, you're like, man, you too young to be having sex anyway. What are you doing with using your penis at the age of 18? That's an illegal weapon for you. You should not even be using that, right? But they're allowed to do it. And so 18-year-olds are getting caught up in this nonsense, ruining their lives because they're not aware of the political hotbed that they're stepping into. That's why you got to warn your sons. If you're smart, you'll warn your son, your little nephew, any black man you care about, you warn him in advance, because if you don't, it'll be too late. By the time that system grabs him, by the time Albert Wilson got sucked up in that system at the age of 23, where he's got 12 years in prison, where he's going to go get sent away with big evil men who like to rape people at night. By the time he got to that point, it's kind of too late. Like his family, they're devastated. His mama is devastated. So anyway, let me keep going. So basically it says it was the beginning of a concerted effort to radically remake how students interact sexually. The accused were to be judged. Now pay attention here. The accused, which is your son, because your son will probably almost never be on the side of the accuser, right? Your son will never be a white woman. So your son, if he's involved in any of this nonsense, he's going to be the accused. So they said the accused were to be judged under the lowest standards of evidence. Bill Cosby went to prison. There is no evidence. Albert Wilson is going to prison. There is no evidence. It becomes he said, she said. So the accused were to be judged under the lowest standards of evidence. The definitions of misconduct were widely broadened. So now, it goes from, like he raped me, which we know is a terrible thing. All right. We all agree that that's a bad thing. If you agree that rape is bad, please say, I agree. Just please, so we can make sure we're clear that nobody's justifying any form of sexual assault or even sexual harassment. If she don't want to go out with you, back up. Any man who follows me should understand that rule. Be respectful of women. Very, very important. But you're going now you're going from, he raped me to he made me feel uncomfortable. Let me tell you why that's dangerous. I know a brother right now, who is a professor at a white university. There was a white woman who went to the administration and reported that his presence made her feel uncomfortable. So they come to him and they tell him, we got lawyers coming in, they're going to interview you because you got a complaint from a student. And he's like, what was the complaint? They were like, we can't tell you. He's like, well, who was the student? They said, we can't tell you. They won't even give you the right to face your accuser. And so for a year and a half, 2 years, it's still hanging over his head. It never really went away. He was being questioned. His 20-year career was being ruined. And again, he said, I don't understand. He said, when female students come see me, I leave the door open to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. Well, what we finally started getting through the grapevine is that he never was touched this woman. Never, it wasn't like, well, they slept together and blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't do anything with this woman. He never made a sexual comment to this woman. I swear, she merely was made uncomfortable by his presence. She said, his presence makes me uncomfortable. And so the other couple of black professors were like, what does that mean? Like, you mean him just being in the room made her uncomfortable? And basically that's what they were being told. Like, that basically she just decided to report that his presence in my space makes me uncomfortable. He didn't touch her. He didn't say nothing to her. He just teaches the class like any professor. And she literally had the power to almost ruin his reputation. In fact, he's still going through it. He's still pissed off. He's still stressed out and pretty much PTSD'd over this. Like, this is PTSD, like, where you're like, what did I do? Like who do I talk to? Like, where do I go? They didn't tell him anything. So basically, you got to the point where on college campuses where somebody damn near could just say, what you said made me uncomfortable. And you ain't even said them. You literally were like, where's the cafeteria? Or when are you having your baby? Like, you ask a question like that. If that makes a white woman uncomfortable, then they can go report that. And the thing about it, the reason that's extremely dangerous for a black man is because we've always made everybody uncomfortable. I make people uncomfortable every damn day of the week. So I'm just sitting here thinking, this is a scary time to be a black man. You are the new Jews in America. You are like the Jews were in Nazi Germany. Their goal is to exterminate you. And the Democratic Party has become the equivalent of Adolf Hitler in terms of supporting the mass extermination of black men. They started with Bill Clinton and mass incarceration, where they labeled you super predators. Black men were the ones getting incarcerated by the thousands during that era. Now that's followed up. Mass incarceration is followed up with the Me Too era, in which black men, if you get accused on any level, not even accused, if someone just says that you're uncomfortable, they can ruin everything that you've got. So anyway, let me keep going. But now pay attention. One interesting thing about the Me Too movement that you really want to keep in mind is that while you've seen black men get incarcerated under the Me Too movement, and you've seen some white men just be taken down from the Me Too movement, like a Charlie Rose, etc., how many women have been taken down by the Me Too movement? Not one. And not one that I know of. Not one prominent woman anywhere has been taken down by the Me Too movement. How many gay people have been taken down by the Me Too movement? Any? You can name some gay people that, I'm talking about really taken down. Not, like Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey, he had that little thing with the little boy or whatever. Or no, it wasn't even a little boy. It's like a 18-year-old, and now there's a trial and he's suing him or something like that. But I'm talking about really, really, really took down. Like you in handcuffs. They got you on TV. Your mug shot is posted everywhere. They're writing tons of articles about you, doing documentaries on you. How many gay men or gay men or women, or women, heterosexual women, have been taken down by the Me Too movement? Zero. So this is pretty much a gender war. This is pretty much the objective of the Me Too movement is to take men out, to take power from men. And now it's interesting because now it's hitting the Democratic Party. I knew it was eventually going to hit them. I mean, with the track record Bill Clinton has, there is no way the Me Too movement was not eventually going to get around to Bill. No way on earth. And Bill's going to be next. Eventually, a coalition is going to get together and just take down Bill Clinton. And who knows, shit, he might deserve to be taken down. Bill Clinton, he'll give Bill Cosby a run for his money. Remember, all these people were buddies back in the day. That, in 1995, they were very proud to be friends. A decade before that, they were all proud to go hang out at the Playboy Mansion together. So it's going to hit Bill Clinton. And that's what Barack Obama is reacting to, if you ask me. I think Barack Obama is saying, oh shit, they're going to come get Bill Clinton. They're going to come get, a Joe Biden. And then they might come get me. Because Negro, you still black. You might be biracial. You might be extremely articulate, but you still black. And I'm going to tell you, I would argue that if you go into any man's history with a microscope that's focused enough, if you get a deep enough microscope on any man's life, you can find something to work with. You can find somebody who's going to say some shit that will embarrass you. You're going to find that. Please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. So I'm going to keep reading here. So in this letter, dear colleague, to 4,600 institutions of higher education, it laid out new directives for how campuses were to root out and punish sexual assault. The accused were to be judged with the lowest standards of evidence. The definitions of misconduct were widely broadened. Third-party reports could trigger an investigation, even if the alleged victim did not think that there had been a violation. So even if you tell somebody that I was not violated, if they feel you were violated, they can report the violation. Like it's crazy. They said Title IX is the federal law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in education. Under Obama administration insistence, college offices tasked with administering Title IX became vast and powerful bureaucracies, and students were encouraged to report any perceived violation. So basically, they were telling them, if you get mad at a man, then go report his ass. Like if anything, if he does something that causes you distress, if you feel disrespected, if you feel that he hurt your feelings, then we're here for you. We will go take his ass out. Title IX is actually the rule that they use to go after the guy I told you about, the black professor. When the white woman in his class said, he makes me uncomfortable with his presence. He makes me uncomfortable just because he's here and he's breathing. Like they use Title IX as the mechanism and the tool to go after him. So in 2015, in a speech at Syracuse University, where I used to teach, Biden made his oft-repeated assertion that we need a fundamental change in our culture, and the quickest place to change culture is to change it on college campuses. In other words, campuses were laboratories where government officials could impose their vision of how males and females should interact. Among the cultural shifts orchestrated by the Obama administration was the assertion that evaluation of campus claims of sexual harassment and assault rest on the subjective feelings of the accuser. So if somebody feels like you should be punished, then you're going to get punished, right? Again, I would just, it'd be great as a black man to have that kind of power where I could be like, you know what, I feel like you're a terrible person, so I'm going to go report you to the terrible person police, and you're going to go to jail because I feel like you hurt my feelings and what you did was wrong. How many of you would love to have that power? How many of you would love to be able to go and call the cops and be like, you know what, my ex-girlfriend, hurt my, she cheated on me, and I feel I have PTSD now because it was wrong for her to do that. She's a creepy, horrible person, and I need you to put her in jail. How many of you would love to have that kind of power? Raise your hand. Say yes, right? Robin Cooper says me, right? Or same thing for the ladies, right? How many of you would love to be able to call the cops on your ex and be like, you're in violation of a broken heart, or you have, I'm calling the emotional police on you, and I'm gonna sue you for $100 million because you caused me emotional distress, right? Like people go to court. Think about this. People go to court and they get like millions of dollars for emotional distress, right? Well, I mean, what more emotional distress do you have than in a relationship gone bad? Like when somebody just did you dirty, did you wrong, took all your money, whatever. I mean, my God, if they let me call the relationship police on ex-girlfriends, I would have like a great list that I could start right now that would go to all the way to the end of this paper and on to the next page, right? So it's kind of a dangerous thing to allow you to put concrete punishment on someone for subjective feelings of the accuser. So they said that meant it was irrelevant whether the accused had an intention to abuse, harm, or offend. This was codified in 2013 with the joint release by the Departments of Education and Justice of what they called, quote, a blueprint for colleges and universities throughout the country to protect students from sexual assault and harassment. An analysis by the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, a civil liberties group, found that the administration, the Obama administration, found that the administration had abandoned the principle that claims of harassment should be evaluated on an objective or reasonable person standard. So now pay attention, listen to this. Let me read this again. They said an analysis by the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education found that the administration, the Obama administration, had abandoned the principle that claims of harassment should be evaluated based on an objective standard or a reasonable person standard. So they were like, you ain't got to be a reasonable person to ruin somebody's life. You ain't got to be objective to ruin somebody's life, which means you pretty much don't have to have proof. You could just say, he hurt my feelings and I'm not a reasonable person, but go get him, right? And who is that going to affect more than the black man? I mean, who's going to get hit by this more than the black man who's already seen and perceived as a criminal in this country anyway? The Obama administration's efforts, thank you, sweetie. What is that?
It's cake.
Is that carrot cake?
No, banana.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I got to keep that key lime pie in the freezer out in the garage.
Oh, are you on? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, get on out of here, woman. Go get out of here. All right. So anyway, sorry. When she comes in, I got to give her my attention. I love her. So anyway, so here's the thing. So let me keep reading. So the Obama administration's efforts to expand the definitions of what constituted a possible sexual violation were thoroughgoing. In 2014, the White House issued a report called Not Alone, which provided schools with a model of climate survey that gave this definition punishable behavior. Quote, sexual violence refers to a range of behaviors that are unwanted by the recipient and include remarks about physical appearance. That means that if you tell a woman, you look great in that dress, you have technically committed sexual violence against that person, right? Let's see, sexual violence. So sexual violence refers to a range of behaviors that are unwanted by the recipient and include remarks about physical appearance, persistent sexual advances that are undesired by the recipient. So if you ask her to have sex and she says, no, I don't want to have sex with you, and you come back and you say, hey, I'd still like to have sex with you, and she says no again, then you're technically in violation. You could technically, you better be careful if you ask twice, because if you ask twice and she really doesn't want to do it, then she can report you and have you kicked out of school or sent to prison. Persistent sexual advances, let me see here, advances that are undesired, unwanted touching. So that means you touch her. That's why I tell guys, like, don't touch women. Like, you hug her, and if she's traumatized by a hug, then that's a problem, right? So unwanted touching means you can get kicked out of school or get sent to prison. Warn your sons. Unwanted oral, anal, or vaginal penetration. Okay, well, that's pretty standard, right? Or attempted penetration, right? So that last part, I'm not going to mess with that. I mean, unwanted penetration. I mean, that's pretty clear, right? The other stuff, can't touch, can't make a comment, can't ask for sex. Too many. If you ask for and the person, if she wants to sleep with you, then it's great. If she doesn't want to sleep with you, then she can label you as a harasser and go and ruin your whole life. I mean, that's kind of the way it's set up. So in other words, the Obama administration expanded the definition of sexual violence to include compliments or the kind of touching often unasked for and sometimes unwelcome that Biden has engaged in for years. So basically, Joe Biden literally built the nuclear warhead that's going to be dropped right on top of his house, because Joe Biden, if anybody has engaged in a persistent pattern of unwanted touching for many, many decades, it is Joe Biden's creepy ass. Joe Biden has been touching everybody since he started politics. So it's fascinating that he didn't think about this when he sort of pushing this agenda. It just doesn't make any sense. Do me a favor. By the way, we're talking about Obama and his recent warning about purity within the Democratic Party and how we should avoid looking for purity and pretty much avoid attacking our own. And basically that's driven by Joe Biden and his whole situation right now. I believe Joe Biden is the driving force behind that. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. If you want to text notification when we go live, please text the word voice to 31996, 31996. Somebody please type that number in so other people can join the text list. Also, we're on iTunes now. So if you have iTunes or SoundCloud, you can look for my name, Boyce Watkins, and you can find my podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud, and you can listen to it that way. So I'll keep reading here. Because of all these edicts, accusations that emerge from consensual encounters, false reports, or trivial contact have resulted in investigations and sometimes severe penalties for accused young men. So think about this. Consensual encounters are resulting in young men's lives being ruined. Consensual sex. False reports. Like, oh, wait, I thought that they told me in that letter that women don't really lie. So I'm a sexist for saying that sometimes women lie, but they're mentioning right here, false reports. Trivial contact. Somebody says something to you. They say, girl, you look good today. And you decide that you have a stick up your ass and you go and you report that person. Next thing you know, there's some big Title IX investigation. And they're using your money to do this, by the way. Just be clear, they're using your money to do this because Black people, Black college graduates actually are in the absolute worst position of all groups when it comes to student loans. They are the least likely to be able to repay those loans. They're most likely to die in debt. The half of all Black college graduates have defaulted on their student loans. So I want you to process this. You borrowed $250,000 and gave away $250,000 of your family wealth to go get this degree from a white university that is using that money to pay vast, expansive Title IX departments that are going around and sending Black men to prison or kicking them out of school for trivial incidents like this or false accusations. Like that's what, so the reason they can have these big, vast Title IX offices, I'm a college professor, right? So I taught on college campuses for 20 something years, taught at University of Kentucky, Indiana University, Syracuse University, the Ohio State University, the University of Rochester. I've taught in China, I've taught in Europe, I've taught all around the world. And I can just tell you, the reason the universities have so much money is because they're charging insane amounts of money and they're leaving you so deep in debt that you can't get out. But they're taking this money and they're financing these massive bureaucracies because they're nonprofits. Nonprofits, that doesn't mean they don't make money. Nonprofits make tons of money. They just have to spend the money. So when they spend the money, they're spending it not on making the college experience necessarily better for the students. They're paying for all these fucking administrators. That's what they're doing. They're getting all these administrators in here that are going to go do these stupid Title IX investigations because somebody said that she looked good in her dress and she felt offended and blah, 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 blah. And they're doing this to Black people. Black men are the ones being thrown under the bus on this Title IX stuff. There are white men as well. There are some white men going down too, but the brothers are the ones getting the high profile cases. And so Joe Biden created all of this. That's why I think it's really funny to see Joe Biden going through this right now. So there's more to this article. They said, so in fact, they also mentioned that Biden has also failed to acknowledge that male students punished under the system he helped create have been increasingly fighting back. They have filed more than 400 civil suits contending that they have been unfairly accused and deprived of their rights. These suits are getting increasingly favorable, sometimes outraged rulings from judges. So there are judges that are livid when they find out how easy it is that they've made it to take people down. So it said in a recent City Journal article, historian Casey Johnson points out that Biden responded with fury to Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos's attempts to create fairer procedures for adjudicating campus sexual assault claims. Biden continues to insist that male college students are crude brutes, ever ready to attack their female classmates. In an April 2017 interview in Teen Vogue, he said that when he explains consent to male students, they are astounded. Quote, I've had young men on campuses say to me, I've never thought of it that way. As long as she wasn't screaming and kicking or yelling help, then it was probably okay. It's not okay. It's not okay unless she can affirmatively consent. We all agree on that. In that same interview, he explained what he believes consent entails. Pay attention. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. If you got a son, bring your son in the room so he can listen to this if he's going to go to college. Listen to this. This is what the Obama administration, again, this president that y'all love, y'all love white, Black Jesus, whatever he is to y'all, not y'all, not all of y'all, but some of y'all. This is what they were pushing forward. Pay attention. He says, we're trying to let young men understand that without consenting, meaning saying, yes, it is okay to touch me, then it is not consent. We're trying to let young men understand that without consent, meaning saying, yes, it is okay to touch me, then it is not consent. So that means, tell me this, let me ask you this question, then I'm gonna explain deeper why I stopped on that sentence. Tell me if you've ever had sex with someone without specifically saying, yes, it is okay to touch me. I want you to tell on yourself, have you ever had sex with someone where you never stopped and said, yes, it is okay to touch me. Yes, I consent to have sex with you. Where there was no words exchanged, just a sexy look, like, girl, I want to do things with you, right? Tell me if you've ever had sex without having a long conversation with official consent. Tommy, yes. Tommy, you're a rapist. Wild C says yes. Wild C, you're a rapist. But if you're men, you're a rapist. If you're a woman, then that's okay, because apparently women can't commit crimes and women can't lie, according to the Obama administration. Tory Brown, I don't know if you're male or female, but you're a rapist too. I'm gonna go ahead and just slap it on you, slap the label on you. Deadly Finger Bang. Well, that name just said, come on, man. I mean, shit. Anyway, what kind of name is that? What kind of name is that? Rap Life right now. Yep, he's having sex right now. Damn, wow, okay. Good for you. Tell me again, say yeah, Tiffany Hunt. Yes, right? So Tiffany, you've been raped according to Joe Biden standards. So if you wanted to go back to the men that you didn't talk to and specifically say, yes, it is okay to touch me, then you can officially go report that person as having raped you, because you officially did not give consent. So that's quite fascinating, right? That you actually literally, they're saying that you literally have to have the person say, yes, it is okay to touch me in order for you to touch them. Let's see, I've never said those words ever verbatim to let my partner know it was all right. Yeah, well, I mean, ladies, for real, like, answer this question, please. Tell me if you think it's corny if a guy is asking in order to make his move. Like if he stops and says, is it okay if I kiss you? Can I kiss you? Right? Tell me if you think that's kind of corny. I think I've heard women say that they think it's corny. They think it's ridiculous. They think it's stupid. They like the vagina dries up when you start getting too technical and too formal. Tell me, ladies, if you think that that's the case. If it's just annoying to you if a man wants to talk a whole lot and isn't right. Okay, Shante says no, it's not. Right. So I kind of think, again, I'm not saying that you can't do that. And I think in this world that we live in, you have, she said, my shit would drive like the Sahara. Now that's funny, Shamika. You got me cracking up over here. Robin says corny as fuck. Right. It's corny. It's not, like that's not how sex works. Right. And so basically what they did was they created these rules in a vacuum of purity, where you, before you have sex, you're supposed to say, well, is it okay if I touch you? And then you're supposed to get continuous consent. They said you're not supposed to just get consent one time. So that means, like, if your son is having sex with a girl and she texts and says, come on over here and give me the D, right? And you have that text message, that still is not enough to protect him. He's supposed to get continuous and repeated consent. Like, okay, I'm here to deliver the D. Is it okay if I touch you now? Yes, it is okay for you to touch me. Okay, is it okay if I take your clothes off now? Yes, it is okay for you to take my clothes off. Like, literally, that's kind of the nonsense that they're preaching. And I think that it's so ridiculous and so unfair. What's really scary and unfair about it is that you're imposing this on young people. So, you ruin your life and you're 19 years old and you didn't even know what you did wrong. I mean, that's kind of crazy. So let me keep going. Biden also seems to have no recognition that campus encounters can be filled with ambiguity and mixed signals. In an April 2016 speech at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, he mocked the idea that sexual assault allegations might be complicated and told the assembled students that they should ostracize the abusers and make them a pariah on campus. So he's going around encouraging people to turn into lynch mobs. He is going around encouraging the extraction and the loss of justice in our society. He's encouraging people to let go of innocent till proven guilty, to let go the principles of justice on which our country supposedly, allegedly founded, which we know never applied to Black people in the first place. He's basically going around and being a fascist. He's encouraging lynch mobs. He's saying it doesn't matter if there's no proof. Ostracize the abusers. Make them a pariah on campus. It doesn't matter if it's he said, she said. Ostracize the abusers. Make them a pariah on campus. Ruin their life. Go after them, right? And that should be of concern to Black people, because that's how lynchings occur, right? A lot of times lynchings would occur when a Black man was accused of a crime, and they would say, no, we're going to go and we're going to get him now. We're going to get together. We're going to go handle this. Fuck the courts. Fuck a fair trial. Fuck evidence. Fuck justice. We're just going to go kill him because we think he did it. right? So that's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, I remember seeing who was it? I remember there was a student on my goddaughter's campus at Columbia University, where Obama went to school. That's kind of like ground zero for liberal fascism. Unfortunately, that's like ground zero of that Nazi-like behavior, right? And I remember there was a girl that felt like a guy had assaulted her, and maybe he did, but she walked around the campus the whole year saying, Josh Wilson raped me, right? And everybody was like, "You go, girl. You go, girl. That's great, girl. You go, girl." And I was thinking, well, what if he didn't rape her? Like, what if she's mentally ill? Like, it's not like that's never happened. It's not like this never happened. And my thought is, why isn't this happening in a police station? Why aren't they doing a formal investigation to find out what occurred? Why aren't they doing some due diligence? Because what if she's lying? What if she's crazy? There are lying, crazy people everywhere. If I go and I just find a white woman and I just say, or if Michelle Rambo, if I go around and I say, Michelle Rambo robbed me, Michelle Rambo drugged me and robbed me, and I've got a sign on and I'm walking around and I'm saying, Michelle Rambo robbed me and drugged me and robbed me, would that be right? Would that be right? Or should you believe me just because I said it? Or maybe you should ask me for some sort of proof, witnesses, something. And I think, I mean, to be fair, right? Sexual assault's hard to prove, right? And that's the part that's kind of sketchy. And so what I would almost say is that in addition to giving our sons advice about being cautious about situations you go into, because you got the Cardi B's out there, you got the liars, you got the crazy people out there that'll harm you, you should also talk to your daughters about that and kind of let them know, kind of like a warning label, like there are some areas in a city where the police will say, look, if you go to that area, we can't protect you. If you go to that area and you get jacked, we'd like to help you, but if we don't see it or we're not around, we can't help you. When I was in Guyana, that's what they said. They said, these are the areas where we can guarantee your protection. These are the areas where you can't. So if a young girl decides she wants to go up to a guy's room at 2 o'clock in the morning, there has to be a warning label attached to that to say, if you go up there, make sure you investigate this guy thoroughly. Make sure you think it through, because if you go up there and something bad happens, we might not be able to do anything, not because we don't believe you, but because we need proof, because we have a justice system that we have to protect. And to be fair to everyone, we're going to need some evidence and some proof. So just, know that we can't protect you when you go up there. So make sure you vet this guy out. Don't be running up to this guy's room, when you just met him that night in the bar. Because at that point, you come out of there and you say, this terrible thing happened to me, and there is no proof whatsoever. People are going to say, well, why did you go up there with that guy and you don't even know him? And it's dangerous to say that, politically incorrect to say that, but that's what you call common fucking sense. And the Democratic Party has no common sense. They have no sense of justice. The fact that they were literally supporting the idea of incarcerating Americans with no evidence says that they are as dangerous to this country's liberties as Adolf Hitler was to the liberties of Nazi Germany. Every bit of it. So let me keep going. So let's see here. So in a statement in response to the Flores and Lapos accusations, Biden wrote in part that over many years, I've offered countless handshakes, hugs, and blah, 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 standard bullshit. But if Joe Biden, now check this out. They said, so Joe Biden explains his shit, right? This is actually good. He says, I have offered countless handshakes, hugs, expressions of affection, support, and comfort, and not once, never, did I believe I acted inappropriately. If it is suggested that I did so, I will listen respectfully, but that was never my intention. Now, two things. One, pay attention to what he's saying. He's saying, it wasn't my intention. If I made you uncomfortable, it wasn't my intention. But didn't he push forward with an agenda that basically said that intention doesn't matter? Remember, I mentioned this earlier. If you've been paying attention, you've been hearing what I've been saying. This is for intelligent Black people. This is for people that can think. This is not for everybody. Everybody ain't gonna get it. A lot of people gonna think I'm the sexist asshole for even talking about this. But smart people get what I'm saying. Remember earlier when they said that they let go of the reasonable person standard and that it can be based on subjective feelings of the person that was attacked, the alleged victim, right? And there was no conversation about what you intended to do. Fuck your feelings. Fuck what you intended to do. That's what Joe Biden and the Obama administration said. It don't matter what you intended to do. What matters is that you did it and it made somebody uncomfortable. So your ass needs to be hauled off to the gulags, right? So check this out. The lady Catchett is such a smart lady. I like this. She's one of my favorite white people right now. She says, but if Joe Biden were a college student, the very stroking, smelling, and touching he now characterizes as expressions of affection, ambiguous as those actions might be, could easily result in his being investigated by the Title IX office and subjected to education disrupting punishment. So if Joe Biden, now I want y'all to just imagine if Joe Biden was your 21-year-old son on a college campus, and every time he met a girl, he starts stroking her hair and feeling her face. And puts his arms on her shoulders and sniffs her hair and whispers in their ear. And he does this to 200 different girls on the campus. Can you imagine? Can you possibly go with me when I say that somebody would probably report his ass? He'd probably end up getting in trouble for that. You know, he'd either get smacked or reported or both, right? So the fact that Joe Biden was engaged in this kind of behavior, but yet simultaneously condemning all forms of unwanted contact, comments, everything else, even your mouth can get you kicked out of school, is really fascinating. It makes him a bigger hypocrite than even Bill Cosby was. Bill Cosby didn't deserve to go to prison, but Bill Cosby was a hypocrite now. Bill Cosby spent a lot of years, preaching at people, talking down on people, talking about, like why you need to do this perfectly and that perfectly. Like if a man was caught cheating on his wife and got in trouble for it, Bill Cosby would have been the guy who would have been like, well, you shouldn't have done that, son, and it's not right, and blah, 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 blah. So he was a hypocrite. Let's just be clear. I think he was. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he should be in prison, but he was a hypocrite. Joe Biden has got Cosby beat tenfold. I mean, seriously, I mean, you have been doing some stuff that if you watch that video, Creepy Uncle Joe, you're gonna probably walk away saying that there's a good chance that he's a child molester. It has a molester kind of feel. There is no way, in my opinion, that Joe Biden could ever be president of the United States after that video was released, because he looks 100 times worse than Donald Trump has ever. I have never seen a Donald Trump video that was worse when it comes to treatment of women or reactions to women than the Creepy Uncle Joe video. That video was like, that creeped me out. I said, damn, I can't even watch this. This is grossing me out. Anyway, it's like the Michael Jackson documentary kind of in a way, except not quite as graphic, but pretty bad. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking. It was great talking to you guys. I know we talked longer than we expected. I hope it was worthwhile. I hope that we gained something, learned something. I hope that we all became a little bit smarter as a result. Really quick, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done that yet, please do that. Also, please, if you want to or get on the text list where I can text you when we go live, because I'd like to let you guys know when we're live so you can know to come in. Text the word BOYCE, BOYCE, to 31996. Write that down. Somebody please type that in, 31996. If you text that, then I will text you when we go live, and I go live all the time. Whenever something hits my brain and I feel passionate about it, I jump on. So I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen, but it happens all the time. And drboycetv.com, there's always new content up there every day. There's always stuff there every day. And my job as a professor, as a scholar, is to get you to think. I don't care if you agree with me or not. You ain't got to like me. We ain't got to be buddies if that's not what you want to do. The goal is to get you to think and to think for yourself and to be a free thinking Black person. That's all I want. I want you to be a free thinker, even if you disagree with me. The other thing too is on the 12th of April, if you're watching before the 12th of April, on that day for 24 hours, we're going to do a 70% discount sale on Black Money 101, which is one of our most popular programs in the Black Business School. You can go take a look at it. It's blackmoney101.com. And for 24 hours, we're going to take 70% off the tuition for Black Money 101. And you're going to like it. It has all kinds of lectures, literally, I think 40 different lectures on different topics. Everything from creating your own family bank to getting your finances right, to understanding the power of money, how money works, everything. So feel free to join us on that day. Also, last but not least, if you want to find books and apparel and other Black stuff, digital lectures for your family, things for your kids, you can actually go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's where everything is. And so if you want to support what we're doing, let us educate you. Don't give us a donation. We don't need donations. I mean, if you want to, you can, but I'd rather have you make an investment, because I want you to walk away feeling like you benefited from the transaction as much or more than we did. So that means if you spend $100, we want you to feel like you got, $1,000 worth of value. And that's why we're diligent about educating you and elevating you. We're not just pastors asking for a donation. No disrespect to pastors, but we are, in a way, I'm a pastor. My gospel is Black economic empowerment. But with this gospel, the best way for me to show and prove is to make sure that your life is better because we interacted, that you don't just feel better, that you're actually doing better. So feel free to go to blackfinancialintelligence.com if you want to support or be a part of what we're doing. So I want to say goodbye to my tribe of intelligent Black people. It was real. It was fun. And I'm going to go and eat this food my woman brought down to me. And I love that woman. She's an awesome, awesome Black woman. And also, I have to thank her publicly for the fact that this Black woman really saved my life. She got me running and exercising. And we did a half marathon this weekend. My legs are sore, but my heart is good. And my blood pressure's down. And I'm feeling good about myself. So if you ever want your life to get much better, go get you a Black woman, because can't nobody do it like a good Black woman. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. And I'll talk to you soon.